The drama just hit an all-time high. Chrissy collapses backstage after Jim Jones drops a new secret wedding video that no one saw coming. The footage has fans in total shock, and the fallout is shaking the entire love and hip-hop world. The cameras might have stopped rolling, but the drama never really ends when it comes to Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin. What went down backstage after the latest taping of Love and Hip Hop has already sent shockwaves across social media, and fans are still picking their jaws up off the floor. Reports are flying in that Chrissy completely collapsed backstage after Jim Jones blindsided everyone with a brand new secret wedding video that no one, not even Chrissy herself, seemed ready for. But what was in this so-called wedding video? Why did it leave Chrissy trembling, overwhelmed, and eventually collapsing? In tears? And what does this mean for their already shaky relationship that's been hanging on by a thread for years? Let's rewind and break this down, because this is way more than just another messy fight between Chrissy and Jim. This situation is exposing years of hidden wounds, unspoken resentments, and a shocking revelation that has left the whole Love and hip-hop cast stunned. For anyone who's followed their story from the very beginning, you know Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin's relationship has always been a roller coaster. From the early seasons where Chrissy famously got down on one knee and proposed to Jim on national TV, to all the delays, the excuses, and the endless fights about when, or if, they would ever officially tie the knot, this love story has been anything but picture perfect. Fans have always questioned Jim's commitment. Some have called Chrissy ride or die to a fault, staying with Jim for over a decade while waiting for that big day that always seemed just out of reach. Well, that's why this new wedding video Jim dropped backstage hit harder than anyone could have expected. According to multiple insiders who were there when it all went down, Jim pulled out footage during a heated backstage moment that left everyone speechless. He claimed it was a secret wedding video that he'd been holding on to, something he never showed publicly and something Chrissy never thought would see the light of day. Now here's where things get messy. At first, people thought Jim was trying to surprise Chrissy in a sweet way, like maybe he finally wanted to prove that he was serious about locking her down once and for all. But instead of joy, what happened was pure chaos. When the video started, playing, whispers broke out instantly because this wasn't a normal wedding clip. Reports say it didn't show Jim and Chrissy exchanging vows in front of friends and family. Instead, it appeared to be footage of Jim with someone else. That's right, another woman. The details are murky, but insiders claim the video looked like it was from years ago, possibly before Chrissy's infamous on-camera proposal, but still during the time they were very much together. In the footage, Jim was seen in what looked like a private ceremony setting. Rings, vows, the whole 9 yards, but with a woman no one recognized. If this was really a wedding, then it meant Jim had a secret past that Chrissy never knew about. And the timing of him dropping this now couldn't have been worse. When Chrissy saw the video, sources say her body language changed instantly. 1 second she was yelling at Jim during an argument about their relationship status. The next second she went completely silent, staring at the screen in shock. Cast members described the room as frozen. You could literally hear a pin drop because nobody knew what they were watching, or why Jim would even play such a thing. The moment dragged on before Chrissy finally broke down. Reports say she clutched her chest, burst into tears, and screamed at Jim in disbelief. Witnesses. Backstage said her voice cracked as she kept asking him over and over, "What is this? Who is she? Why would you do this to me?" The weight of it all became too much, and that's when things took a dramatic turn. Chrissy collapsed right there backstage, forcing crew members and medical staff to rush in. Here's where the debate really starts. Did Jim Jones actually marry another woman behind Chrissy's back? Or was this some kind of elaborate stunt, maybe even edited footage, meant to provoke Chrissy and make her feel what it's like to be kept in the dark all these years? Because let's be real, Jim has always had a way of turning situations upside down. Fans remember countless times when he avoided Chrissy's questions about marriage or redirected conversations to protect his own ego. Some are speculating that this secret wedding video could have been staged or even just an old performance clip, exaggerated to push Chrissy over the edge. But others insist that Jim has skeletons in his closet, and this video might actually be proof that he once committed himself to someone else, maybe even legally, while stringing Chrissy along all these years. The irony is painful. Chrissy spent years begging Jim for the commitment she deserved. She fought tooth and nail to keep their relationship alive through cheating rumors, endless delays, and public embarrassment. And now, to find out that he might have secretly given that level of commitment to someone else, that's beyond devastating. It's humiliating. Fans online are already going wild with theories. Some say Jim leaked the video himself just to spark ratings, pointing out how perfectly timed this was with the season's finale. Others believe he only showed it because he was backed into a corner during yet another fight with Chrissy, and this was his way of regaining control of the narrative. But regardless of his intentions, the damage is done. Chrissy collapsing wasn't just about shock. It was about years of pent-up hurt crashing down all at once. It's also important to remember that Chrissy has been vocal about how draining this relationship has been on her. She's admitted in interviews that she's had moments where she questioned whether waiting for Jim was worth it. She even stepped away from love and hip-hop for a time because the constant drama over their wedding became too heavy for her to bear in the public eye. To be hit with a secret wedding video at this stage in her life, after everything she's invested, is like pouring salt into wounds that never fully healed. By the time Chrissy was carried off for medical attention backstage, cast members said the atmosphere was completely destroyed. Some of her friends rushed to her side, while others confronted Jim directly, demanding answers about what the video really showed. But as always, Jim was cryptic, refusing to clarify. He simply said, "Now you know the truth," before storming off, leaving the entire cast in chaos. Whether the video was authentic or not, one thing is for certain: Jim's decision to drop it at that moment shattered Chrissy. And the collapse wasn't just physical, it was emotional, symbolic of everything she's endured in this relationship. The woman who once confidently proposed to the man she loved in front of millions was now left broken, asking herself if she ever really knew him at all. And that's just the beginning, because if this video is real, it could mean serious consequences. For Jim, not just personally but legally, depending on when and where this so-called wedding took place. And if it was fake, then the betrayal might actually be worse, because it means he purposely set out to humiliate the woman who stood by his side through everything. The chaos had just begun, and part 2 picked up where things spiraled completely, out of control. By now, the leaked wedding video wasn't just circulating online, it had become the main talking point backstage at the event. Cameras that were originally meant to capture lighthearted behind-the-scenes moments were suddenly documenting raw emotion, arguments, and secrets that no one was prepared to see unfold so publicly. Chrissy was still shaken from her collapse, being helped by a few crew members and close friends, but the whispers backstage only fueled her panic. She could hear fragments of people talking. "That's wild. Jim really did that?" And she had no idea? Every word cut deeper, reminding her that this wasn't just a private betrayal anymore. It was entertainment for millions of viewers. Jim, on the other hand, was pacing in a corner, visibly angry but trying to maintain control. His phone wouldn't stop buzzing with calls from friends, family, and people in the industry who wanted answers. The leaked footage had shown him in a compromising situation with another woman at what appeared to be a private wedding ceremony. The video, though grainy, was clear enough to raise serious questions. Had Jim Jones secretly married someone else while still entangled with Chrissy? Producers of the show smelled blood in the water. They weren't about to let this moment slip away. A cameraman zoomed in on Chrissy as she tried to regain her composure, tears streaming down her face. Her voice cracked as she whispered to a friend, "I can't believe he did this to me. After everything, he went behind my back and filmed something like this?" The tension grew heavier when Yandy Smith walked into the room. Known for her messy but magnetic energy, Yandy couldn't resist inserting herself into the situation. She approached, Chrissy slowly, as if offering comfort, but her tone carried just enough shade to stir things further. "Chrissy, you know I've been telling you for years. Jim ain't never been fully honest. But I didn't think it would come to this. A whole secret wedding? Girl, you deserve better." Chrissy snapped back instantly, fueled by anger more than heartbreak. "Yandy, don't start! You love seeing me down. You've been waiting for this moment to throw it in my face. Stay out of my business." The room shifted. Half the people were watching Chrissy's meltdown, while the other half leaned in to catch every word of the brewing confrontation. Yandy raised her eyebrows but smirked knowingly. I don't need to throw anything in your face, Chrissy. Jim already did that. All on his own. At that moment, Jim stormed over, his voice booming above the chatter. Enough! This ain't about Yandy, it's about me and Chrissy. Stop making this a circus. His face was flushed with rage, but his words betrayed guilt. He knew what everyone was thinking, that the video was real, and that his silence was as good as confirmation. Chrissy's eyes locked on him, trembling with both pain and fury. Jim, tell me right now. Is it true? Did you marry someone else? Was all of this, our life, our years together, just a lie? Her voice cracked, but her words pierced through the noise like a dagger dot. Jim hesitated, his lips parting, but no words coming out immediately. That pause, that split second of silence, told Chrissy everything she needed to know. Her knees buckled again, and if it weren't for her friend catching her, she might have collapsed all over. Gasps filled the room as the camera zoomed in, tighter, capturing every tear, every broken expression. The leaked video continued to play on loop backstage via someone's phone. The image of Jim standing at an altar with another woman in a white dress was undeniable. Even if Jim wanted to spin the narrative, the visuals spoke louder than any excuse he could come up with. Producers scrambled, debating whether they should cut the feed or let the drama air unfiltered. Ultimately, they knew controversy was ratings. Gold, so they let the cameras roll. One producer whispered, "This is about to break the internet. Keep filming." Meanwhile, Remy Ma and Papoose, who had been watching from the sidelines, exchanged worried glances. Papoose muttered under his breath, "This is messy. It's really messy. Somebody's career, somebody's life. This might not be fixable. Key." In the center of the storm, Chrissy finally found her voice again. Wiping her tears, she stood tall, though her body still trembled. "Jim, you've embarrassed me for the last time. All the sacrifices I made, all the loyalty I gave you, and this is how you repay me? By sneaking around and putting a ring on somebody else?" Jim tried to interject, his tone defensive. "Chrissy, you don't know the whole story. That video ain't what it looks like," but Chrissy wasn't having it. She cut him off immediately. "Don't you dare insult my intelligence, Jim. I've been with you too long to not see through the lies. You had a chance to tell me the truth, but instead, the world found out before I did. That's the ultimate betrayal." The audience backstage was dead silent now, everyone holding their breath as the couple's world unraveled in real time. Even the crew, who were usually desensitized to drama, looked uncomfortable, as if they were witnessing something too raw to be entertainment. Jim's frustration boiled over, and he shouted, "I never wanted it to come out like this. You think I planned this mess? Somebody out there wants to ruin me, ruin us." Chrissy shook her head, her voice low but steady. "No, Jim, you ruined us. You don't need enemies when you're your own worst enemy." Those words cut deep, and Jim visibly flinched. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the hum of equipment and the faint buzz of phones as news outlets began pushing headlines. Jim Jones exposed in secret wedding video. Chrissy Lampkin collapses backstage. In the corner, Yandy whispered to another cast member, "This is going down in love and hip-hop history. Mark my words." But for Chrissy, this wasn't about history, ratings, or viral moments. This was about her heart shattering in front of an audience that would never let her live it down. She walked toward the exit, tears still falling, but her stride was firm, determined. She needed air, space, anything but the suffocating weight of betrayal. Jim reached out, trying to grab her hand, but she pulled away with force. The look she gave him was colder than ice. "Don't touch me." As Chrissy disappeared down the hallway, Jim stood frozen, surrounded by cameras, castmates, and whispers he couldn't silence. The man who once prided himself on control now looked powerless, exposed, and deeply cornered. And yet, something in his eyes suggested this wasn't over. He wasn't about to let Chrissy walk away without a fight, not after everything they'd been through. But whether that fight would save their relationship or destroy it completely remained the question. Backstage chaos lingered, the tension unshakable. And with the leaked video spreading like wildfire online, the world was about to weigh in on the biggest scandal of their lives. The backstage atmosphere had spiraled into pure chaos, and Chrissy was at the center of it all. She sat slumped in a chair, surrounded by frantic crew members and close friends, her breathing shallow and labored. The shock of Jim Jones dropping that secret wedding video was more than she could take. For years, Chrissy had carried the weight of her relationship on her shoulders, constantly having to prove herself, fight for validation, and endure public humiliation. But this time, the exposure was too raw, too personal, and too cruel. As she clutched her chest, people whispered in panic about whether she needed medical attention. A stagehand quickly rushed to fetch water while another dialed for paramedics. "She's not okay! Somebody get help!" echoed through the cramped, dimly lit space. Jim, meanwhile, was storming down the hall, visibly enraged yet strangely unmoved by the sight of Chrissy collapsing. To him, this was the breaking point in a toxic cycle that had been boiling for years. He muttered under his breath, shaking his head, "She wanna play me? Nah, not this time. Everybody go and see the truth now." His words carried a cold finality that sent shivers through anyone within earshot. The video itself had already gone viral within minutes of him dropping it. Social media was ablaze, with fans reposting clips, dissecting every frame, and speculating about what the footage truly meant. The grainy but clear enough video showed Chrissy in a lavish white dress, standing across from another man in a private ceremony setting. A few witnesses were present, dressed formally, and the setting screamed secrecy, expensive decor, champagne glasses, and hushed conversations. The man's face was partially obscured in the leaked footage, but it didn't take long for internet detectives to zoom in, enhance, and circulate stills that allegedly revealed his identity. "This ain't just no rehearsal. She married for real," one fan posted on X, sparking an avalanche of retweets. Another wrote, "Chrissy Ben moving foul. Jim finally exposed what he had tucked away all this time. This right here changes everything." But others weren't buying it so easily. If Jim had this video, why did he hold on to it so long? What's his angle? Don't forget, he's been embarrassing her for years too. The online debate was vicious, and both Chrissy and Jim's reputations were on the line. Backstage, the paramedics finally arrived, carefully checking Chrissy's vitals as tears streaked down her face. She could barely speak, her words slurred, but desperate. "Tell them. It's not what it looks like." Her voice broke, and the emotional weight of her collapse was almost unbearable for those close to her. Yandy, who had arrived after hearing about the commotion, tried to console her, but even she was caught in the whirlwind of questions. "Chrissy, you gotta say something," Yandy urged softly, kneeling beside her. "This ain't just about the video, it's about your truth. If you don't speak, people won't write their own story, and it won't be the one you want." Chrissy sobbed harder, her body trembling. "I never thought he'd do this to me, after everything I gave him." As the scene unfolded backstage, cameras lurking nearby caught snippets of the chaos, and soon, media outlets began reporting that Chrissy had collapsed from stress after Jim Jones's shocking leak. Headlines screamed, "Chrissy Lampkin collapses backstage after Jim Jones drops secret wedding bombshell." Jim Jones's explosive move leaves Chrissy broken. Was she really married to someone else? Producers scrambled to keep control of the narrative, but the damage had already been done. Clips of Chrissy being wheeled out on a stretcher began circulating within the hour. The world watched in real time as her vulnerability was broadcast for millions to consume. Meanwhile, Jim was not finished. In a live stream later that night, he doubled down on his actions, addressing his followers directly. His face was stone cold, his voice unshaken. "For everybody asking why I did what I did, understand this. Loyalty is everything to me. I put my life on the line for people who didn't do the same for me. I have been quiet too long. I let people think I'm the bad guy. I let people paint me as the one who doesn't care. But now y'all see what I've been dealing with." His words fueled the fire. Supporters applauded him for finally standing on his truth, while critics accused him of exploiting Chrissy's collapse for attention and clout. The divide grew sharper by the minute. But the story wasn't over. Hours later, Chrissy's team released a statement denying the allegations in the leaked footage. The video that was released by Jim Jones is not evidence of a real marriage. It was part of a private project filmed years ago, never intended for public release. Chrissy Lampkin is devastated by this malicious attempt to mislead the public and destroy her reputation. She asked for privacy during this difficult time. The statement only added fuel to the speculation. If it was a project, why was it hidden? Why hadn't Chrissy ever mentioned it before? Fans questioned the timing, the secrecy, and the fact that Jim held on to it like a weapon for so long behind the scenes, though the pain was very real. Chrissy, recovering from her collapse, was deeply shaken by the betrayal. She confided in her closest circle that she felt humiliated beyond repair. "I can't face the cameras anymore," she whispered through tears. "This time, I don't think I can bounce back." Jim, however, seemed resolute, almost detached. "She wanted to make me look like a fool all these years." "I ain't no fool," he told a close friend privately. "If I gotta burn everything down to rebuild, then so be it." As dawn broke the next morning, the entertainment industry buzzed with one burning question: was this the absolute end of Chrissy and Jim Jones? After years of turbulence, breakups, reconciliations, and public battles, this latest scandal seemed to sever whatever thread was holding them together. And for Chrissy, the collapse backstage wasn't just physical, it was symbolic. The weight of secrets, betrayal, and constant exposure had finally crushed her spirit, leaving fans to wonder if she could ever truly rise again. The saga had gripped the public, leaving one final thought lingering in everyone's mind. If Jim still had the power to drop one secret video, what other bombs was he hiding? And if Chrissy couldn't survive this, what would happen if there was more? One thing was clear: this wasn't the end of the chaos. It was only the beginning of a much darker storm. If you've been keeping up with this roller coaster, you already know the drama between Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin is only getting deeper. With leaked videos, shocking backstage meltdowns, and fans torn right down the middle, this story is far from over. The question now is, can their relationship survive yet another bombshell? Or is this the final straw that pushes them apart forever? We'll be following every twist and turn, every leak, every fight, and every moment that keeps social media in shock. So if you don't want to miss the next chapter in this explosive saga, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Chrissy can forgive Jim for putting her through all this humiliation, or has the love finally burned out? Your voice matters in this conversation, and we want to hear what you think. Stick around, because the next revelation might just change everything. This is only the beginning. Subscribe now, join the discussion, and stay locked in, because you won't believe what's coming next.